A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead is a horror game adapted from the film of the same name, immersing players in a world overrun by vicious creatures that can hear the faintest sound. You follow Alex and her group, who are trying to survive in this new, terrifying reality where silence is the key to staying alive. I've completed the game and will walk you through what to expect before sharing my final thoughts and ratings at the end. Set 100 days after the initial invasion, A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead centers around Alex, who must navigate a post-apocalyptic world with a few surviving family members and friends. Supplies are running low, tensions are high, and Alex is forced to venture out in search of a safer place and potential help. The journey takes players through eerie forests, desolate cities, and various other landscapes, with one goal in mind: stay as quiet as possible or risk being torn apart by monstrous enemies. The creatures you'll encounter have no eyesight, but heightened hearing, which makes silence your greatest ally. The game provides a sound meter that helps you measure your noise against the environmental background, and you'll need to tread carefully around hazards like empty cans, glass, or water puddles that can attract these deadly creatures. The game offers multiple movement options, from fast walking to slow crouching. Early on, Alex acquires a device that tracks ambient noise, giving you a clear idea of how stealthy you're being. However, the world around you is filled with noise triggers. From creaky doors to squeaky valves, every interaction must be approached delicately. The game's unique sound sensitivity mechanic, especially when opening doors or moving objects, adds a tension-filled layer to each action. Quick, reckless movements often lead to immediate death. One of the most innovative features is the option to link your mic to the game. Every noise you make in the real world, whether it's talking too loudly or sudden ambient sounds, can be detected by the in-game creatures. This feature offers a thrilling interactive experience, especially for those streaming the game and trying to communicate with their audience. Whisper too loudly and the monsters will come. There's more. I still have to be quiet. The monsters are relentless hunters, using sound as their radar to detect even the slightest disturbances. In certain moments, the creatures send out a sonar wave that can pick up even the smallest movements, forcing you to stand perfectly still or face a deadly chase. As you progress, you gain the ability to throw objects to distract them, but be careful. If your aim is off, you might accidentally create more noise and end up in a worse situation. Throughout the game, you'll come across notes and letters left by other survivors. These add depth to the world, revealing the emotional toll of the invasion and providing clues to help you solve the game's puzzles. Given the lack of dialogue in the game, these notes break the otherwise lonely silence and contribute to the immersive experience. If you found yourself exploring off the beaten path, you may find a neat little rocket toy, very familiar to those who have seen the movie. If you managed to collect a rocket ship, you were rewarded with some CR, credits used to purchase artwork of the game from the main menu screen, allowing you to explore the development process and get a closer look at the in-game models. Have you played the game or seen the movie? Or perhaps this is your first time seeing anything about A Quiet Place? Either way, I would love to hear any thoughts or questions you may have in the comments below. And while you do that, let's move forward to my final thoughts before rating this game. A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead does a fantastic job of immersing you in a world filled with silent tension and lurking danger. Initially, I was on edge, constantly fearful of making too much noise and being hunted down. However, as the game progressed, the fear factor gave way to stress and frustration, especially with the monster AI seemingly always knowing where I was. While the quiet movement mechanics were fun and kept me on my toes, I found the monsters' persistence more irritating than terrifying. The mic integration was a great feature, and whispering to my audience while streaming added a fun twist to the game, but ultimately the game felt like it lacked depth and variety. It was a relatively short and tense experience, clocking in at around 9 hours. While the higher difficulty settings might appeal to those seeking a tougher challenge, I felt that the game could have benefited from a more polished enemy AI, and a bit more substance to keep it engaging throughout. And now for my final ratings. The graphics weren't mind-blowing, but were serviceable. Nothing extraordinary, but nothing terrible either. I'm giving it a 3. The narrative was fine, fitting well within the game's world. Alex's struggles with real-life problems, such as her asthma, were a relatable touch amidst the chaos. But the story didn't have a lasting impression. I'll also give this a 3. The stealth mechanics were well done and enjoyable, but the frustrating AI took away from the overall experience. I'm going with a 2. There's not much incentive to go back unless you want to test yourself on harder difficulties. The game doesn't offer enough rewards for another playthrough, so I'm handing out a 1. Playing the game was enjoyable, especially with the mic integration and the constant tension. Despite some frustrations, I'll give it a 3. Earning a 2.4 out of 5 for A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead. Landing it firmly on the mid-shelf. I couldn't fully immerse myself into the game when the monsters started to become more annoying than scary, but if you can avoid that, this is an excellent game to try out for a frightful night or two. It's worth the asking price, so you definitely couldn't go wrong if you wanted to wait for a sale. If after everything I've said you're still looking for something else, check out the lists over there. We're bound to find something for you that I've reviewed in the past.